siya ganun kadali. Like, actually, medyo confusing siya. As in, parang try mo i-connect, tapos nahanap mo na yung device sa Bluetooth, pero hindi mo mahanap kung saan, hindi ka makapag-navigate from the default, which is yung radio, CD, dun sa device na ipatay. So actually, pangit yung experience. So, nakaka-return siya. When we're designing user interface, usually tinitest tsaka ini-evaluate natin. So, how do we know it's good? How hard or easy is it to perform specific functions? Am I able to achieve yung user goals? So, for example, sa kanina, nape-play ko ba yung music? Sobrang hirap pa, sobrang confusing. So, kung gano'n, kung confusing siya, kung sobrang tagal bago ko ma-achieve yung task next kong gawin, how can I improve it? So, parang gano'n yung isip natin. So, we can improve user interface by doing things such as user research, testing, and then of course, making it aesthetically pleasing. And then, what is quality? So, siguro medyo subjective yung quality, and I decided to just list a few things that I think would contribute to the quality of your design, of the app design. So from the user's perspective, one, I can understand what the app is for, and then two, I can perform intended tasks easily and quickly. So, meron kasi mga apps na parang pagbukas mo, medyo confusing siya. Hindi lang apps, it's same with websites. Minsan confusing mo alam ko anong site nila. And then, with good UI, you want to be able to do tasks with the least number of steps. And then, yeah, so if I can summarize this, it would be structure and simplicity. So, so basically, this is a personal project lang, just an example, para siyang tabletop game na ginawa ko with my friends. So, meron kami HP, immunity, blah blah blah. So, ang ginawa ko for this UI, press mo lang yung mga up and down buttons. So, habang naglalaro kami, kaya daw nag-attack. Tapos, buwas ko ng HP. Ganyan, plus or minus lang. And then, other contributors to structure and simplicity. So as a pro user, I can do tasks much faster via shortcuts. So yung mga beginners, so for example, Photoshop, so for beginners makita mo, you can easily use it kasi yung mga tools. Pero pag pro user, pag pinanood lang sila mag-Photoshop, parang keyboards na lang tsaka mouse yung nagamit nila. Ay, keyboard ang kaya nila, so puro mga shortcuts. So, this is an example of Pixelmeter naman. So, Pixelmeter is it's a Mac app, pero it's cheaper than Photoshop. Pero para rin siyang Photoshop. So, ayan, marami siyang mga tools. And then, pero meron din sa website nila ng list of keyboard shortcuts. So, if you want to work faster. And then one more thing, so if I don't know how to use it, I'm able to learn from the interface. So usually, wala naman masyadong nagbabasa ng mga manual, usually mga tutorial or how-tos. Pero the moment you open a program ng ganyan, wala naman sasabi sa'yo, para saan ba yung icon na yan. Pero nakita mo, paintbrush. So I guess, pwede ako mag-draw or pwede ako mag-paint with that. So eraser na icon, so yun yung pambura. So nobody will have to explain this is what you have to use since may inform mo na siya from the icons. And then, I know what's happening when I'm doing something. So feedback is also important. So kung may mga changes, dapat nakikita nung user. So for example, so balik na rin sa pinita ko kanina. So, ayan, how am I doing this quickly? So wala nang mga pop-up box para mag-edit ng mga stuff namin. So, basta click ka lang, tapos yun na yung i-edit mo. Tapos mag-update mo siya, mag-save na siya real time. So, kailangan ng feedback para sabihin, nag-save yung change. So, and then, if I make mistakes, dapat na-undo rin or redo. So, tolerance. And then it helps if we have some background on design fundamentals. So when you're designing the interface, there's such a thing as the Gestalt theory. I won't discuss it in depth, pero since I also link, if you can see the URL, you can share the PDF of this presentation later. So there are 5 basic things: closure, continuance, similarity, proximity, and alignment. Yeah, since I won't be discussing them in depth, but you can check the examples there. So for example, like closure, proximity. So if you want to group similar items together, basically they have if they have related functions, so it will be easier for a person to use that program or app. So for example, for the image editing apps like Photoshop, if maglagay ka ng type tool, so lahat ng options mo to edit the font, the paragraph, the color, nasa isang box na siya. So parang yun, grouping similar stuff together. And then this is one thing na maybe we don't always realize, but copy is important. What do I mean by copy? Ito yung text, yung mga words na ginagamit natin sa app. So, and yung grammar, tsaka yung terminologies na ginagamit natin. So, because I work with Save 22, so it used to be a price comparison site, and then now they do catalogs. But before, when we were doing price comparison, sobrang parang tagal pinapalit na namin lagi yung introduction, like how do you explain what this site is. So kahit dun pa lang yung copy important na. So if you say price comparison or use other words. So yung example ko, this is from commute.ph. So I'm one of the few people who work on it. So actually parang 1 year ago na yung tapos inayos lang kami. So in this, in the initial UI for the adding of fruits, we used save directions. But when we put this online na, so people were using it, and then even when we were testing it more, we realized na confusing yung save directions kasi mag-add ka ng mga options, alight animal, tricycle, jeep, bus, blah, blah, blah. And then i-click mo yung save directions after you finish everything. Pero ang nangyayari, dahil medyo confusing yung term na save directions, parang every time na mag-add sila ng isang like jeep or tricycle, like napapaklik sila dun sa save directions. So, ano yung ginawa namin? Pinalit na namin into ban para malaman nila, you just press this pagtapos mo na i-build yung thing. So, yung mga simple gano'n na one word will have a big difference. And then, ito, for example, pa sa Keynote kasi sa iOS, that's so weird. They use the term inspector para makita mo yung options for example, yung sa text box, papalitan mo yung font or yung format. Hindi siya settings, hindi siya options, basta yung word sa kanya inspector. So, for the longest time, hindi ko mag-gets kung paano gumaganda. Okay, ito ba yun? So, yeah. So, accessibility. When we talk about accessibility, we're talking about the different, yung mga tao na kayang gamitin yung app. So, app, program, product, and things. So, for sites, for example, how can blind people browse your website? So, for web accessibility, ang important doon, yung tamang formatting. So, if you start with the H1 headers, and then you go lower down the hierarchy. So if you format your site like that properly, mababasa nung parang audio site reader for blind people, yung site mo properly. So, nakaka-navigate sila. So, especially with HTML5, so if you put your links on a nav, then pag dinescribe siya, pag binasa siya, mas maintindihan nila na these are navigation links, hindi lang siya parang random link within the page. And then for other devices, like meron tayong mga assistive touch, yung mga gestures. So these are for people with this is for to have accessibility for other people. So marami na rin projects naman involving, for example, blind people using smartphones. So marami mga research projects. And then feedback. So feedback, ito yung minention ko kanina. So pag nagkaka-error or pag nagkakaroon ng changes, gusto mo nalalaman yung users yung nangyayari. So we want it to be discrete and we want it to be continuous. So ayaw natin na parang nag-break yung flow of work nila by flashing like huge status messages. But then we don't want it din naman na nami-miss nila yung mga status message. So usually somewhere on the page parang minsan nag-flash ng text, tapos iba yung may background, iba yung background color ng text. And then continuous. So as long as the person is interacting with the app or program, nagbibigay ng feedback sa kanya. So for example, this OpenERP. So, nag-update yung text niya every few seconds. So, pag sobrang tagal na naglo-load, sinasabi niya na, naglo-load pa rin yung broken. Kasi usually, yun naman yung paano nag-react yung mga tao. Like, pag sobrang tagal naglo-load, kala nila, kailangan nila refresh or something. So, ito, kapag sobrang tagal na naglo-load pa rin, sinasabi nila na, it's still loading. Kasi ina-update pa rin nila yung text para makikita mo na nag-change, may progress. And then closure. So when we talk about closure, basically it's a sense of accomplishment. So pag natapos na yung person with a project or a task, malalaman niya. So for example, basically ito, may confirmation screen, pero dito sa Rosetta Stone na site, medyo, lang sila, creative lang sila. So, ginagawa nila ibang language and text. So, other examples would be, yung when you buy stuff from sites or, for example, if you complete, like, if you set up MailChimp mailing list, mga end of the, pag maraming steps yung required, so at the end of it, kailangan sabihin sa kanila na, oh, you're done. So, and you can do it creatively, singing mga thanks or good job. And then, error prevention and handling. So this is also important. Kasi syempre, for sure, may mga magkakamali agad. So dapat, within your app, you let your users delete or undo, redo. Or there are also ways wherein by adding stuff to the UI, you're already contributing to make sure that the person will have less errors and minimizing consequences. So we call this for mga prevention methods. So yung mga autocomplete, example yan. So para instead of mag-input ng user na mag-input ng kahit anong gusto niya, usually mga autocomplete, either it limits or it lessens yung variety of stuff. Like for example, the tags. So usually pag mga tags, like sa Tumblr, may mga autocomplete tags, like popular tags. So imbes na sobrang dami iba-ibang tags, ino-autocomplete na nila para mas madali rin for other people pag nag-search sila under one tag. And then mas marami yung results nila under that tag. So yung browsing experience of other users are being improved by prevention methods when other users naman are publishing. So, ganun, nagka-content. So, for example, if you're using a corporate mail account when you're using Gmail to do Google Chat. Tapos a warning appears if you're chatting with someone outside of your company. So, cool siya kasi like, this person is using an account from outside your organization. Be careful what you discuss. So, you're reminded, hindi pala ito yung email account ko na personal. So, and then, of course, if your customer, the user, makes errors, dapat na-reverse rin yung actions niya. So, which is everywhere. But yeah, it would be best if your app also has that. So for example, yung YouTube. So if you navigate away from a video and nag-return ka sa page, nagko-continue yung there from where it left off. So hindi mo kailangan i-load ulit yung or hanapin ka sa stop if you accidentally move from that window to a different page. So it's an example. And then a few more examples. So, Asana, so for this, ending a task with a colon converts it to a heading. Continue typing after the colon to keep